Motorsport Radio and Motorsport Media. I'm Chris McCarthy. Alongside me is Liam Hodgins. And next up is we're going to have the AC40 Pro, race number 1 for AC40 Pro. That'll be followed by PB140 and Moto Team. Then we'll have the Junior LC40 Elite, the Senior Mini Motos, the Mini GP50, Extreme 200s, and then the Sidecars to round us off. Well, I've got to say, Liam, glad to be here commentating on this because we're being treated to fantastic racing so far.
Yes, absolutely. The AC40 rookies and obviously the Mini GP70s have given us 2 fantastic races for the Saturday afternoon. The Mini GP70s once again providing some intense race action. James Cook showing his championship credentials at the moment. Consistency, lots of podium finishes in the last couple of races, and of course Ollie Walker, who has been consistent, but he's been consistent. Best result going into this race was a 6th spot. He's now up to first, managed to take a first position in that previous race. Eddie O'Shea unfortunately finished in 12th spot. He's going to lose his championship lead. Still in 2nd place at the moment, but Ryan Hitchcock, Evan Belford and Bailey Stewart Campbell are seriously closing in on our former championship leader.
Well, here we go then. This is AC40 Pro. As we said, we're going to have 1 green flag lap and then we will go racing. That is the standard procedure. And Mason Foster is our championship leader from Samuel Munson, and Ethan Spark, Clayton Edmonds, Finn and Werity are top 5. But as the riders get ready to go on that green flag lap, let's talk you through how they are going to start. Mason Foster will start from pole position with a 42.814. Clayton Edmonds a 42.970 in qualifying. Row number 2 is Samuel Munson and Ethan Sparks. Then we have Cameron Saul and Henry McCartney on row 3. Charlie Huntingford and Finn and Werity are on row 4. Holly Harris and Keaton Payne, row 5. Greg Marshall and Warwick Brady on row number 6. And running out the field, Aston Dean.
Yes, so as the AC40 Pros make their way around the warm-up lap to make their way onto the grid, Mason Foster has won 5 out of the first 6 races so far in the 2019 AC40 Pro Cool Fab Championship. The only one he didn't win was when he was leading the race at race number 2, round number 2, Red Lodge, last time out, where he fell from the lead in damp and treacherous conditions, and we had the likes of Ethan Sparks on bike number 62 picking up the race win from that race, but we have Samuel Munson in 2nd spot with a hat-trick of 3rd places at Clandow in South Wales, round number 1, and a hat-trick of 2nd places at Red Lodge.
There's a trend out there, isn't there?
So it's going to have to be a hat-trick of race wins coming into round number 3 this weekend. But he's not been having it all his own way. He's been struggling a little bit down the field, and he's in 3rd spot. So Clayton Edmonds next up and Mason Foster in pole position. So as the green flag is up, the AC40 Pro race is underway, and a great start by Clayton Edmonds in 2nd position, but he just got leapt off the line by Mason Foster into turn number 1. As they make their way through turn number 2, it's Mason Foster, our championship leader, in 1st position, just ahead of Clayton Edmonds, who's just now dropped back behind Samuel Munson into his 3rd spot there. So Mason Foster up towards turn number 4 at the moment, and through turn number 4 into turn number 5. There's some changes further down the field at the moment. We have Huntingford, Keaton Payne, Holly Harris all battling out for the fringes of the top 10. But Clayton Edmonds has to make his way up into the 2nd spot again, because it looks like Mason Foster, as he's about to start lap number 2, is now stretching the lead of the race.
Yeah, that was a very, very good first lap there from our pole sitter. And is that a change for 2nd place? I think it was, yes, perhaps, well, almost. But 2 riders there going side by side. It's getting very close indeed as we go on to lap number 2 then. But out front, no such problems for our race leader. So Clayton Edmonds and Samuel Munson there. There was definitely a little bit of passing going on in the early part of the lap.
Edmonds is now up to 2nd spot ahead of Samuel Munson, so I think he managed to just sneak ahead early on in the lap there. So he needed that because he doesn't want Mason Foster to jump away.
No, he doesn't, and he can see that there's a gap growing, and that gap was at 7.5 tenths, but with the move that Edmonds made last time around, we will see if that's extended. So we'll have a look when we get the gap. And although Clayton Edmonds has gone into second, he's going to have to deal with the likes of Samuel Munson and Ethan Sparks. The gap actually did go up to 1.3. Oh, and that was almost an attempt there from Munson, wasn't it, as they went down to the hairpin. But I think Munson may try into the left-hander. It was just a variation of line, I think, rather than a attempted move. Ethan Sparks, 4th place. And then just behind in quite a lonely 5th at the moment is Cameron Saul. Then we have McCartney, Huntingford, Werrity, Payne, Harris, Marshall, Brady and D.
Yes, absolutely. Just looking back at that battle for 2nd spot, it's as ferocious as the battle for 2nd. As they come across start finish line right now, looks like Huntingford is just holding off the likes of Payne and Harris as they come across start finish line at the moment, and we've got a change for 2nd spot. We nearly do it. Wow, Munson nearly up the inside of Clayton Edmonds into turn number 4 there, and we also had the rider in 4th spot nearly pushing his way through as well. So this is great racing, and Mason Foster, the delight of 2nd, 3rd and 4th, isn't pulling away as quickly as they might have thought.
No, well, I'll tell you what, Ethan Sparks was almost pulling off a very brave move there. Tried to go up the inside of both Munson and Edmonds, but thought the better of it in the end, as they, as we see, despite that attempted move, as Liam's just pointed out to me, Ethan Sparks did set the fastest lap last time round. So the rider in 4th place on the number 62, 42.9. And is this the move going to be made for 2nd place? Yes, it is. Samuel Munson down the inside and past Clayton Edmonds. Well, he's been lining that one up for a few laps now, and this time it was made successfully. Samuel Munson up to 2nd, back up to 2nd place past Clayton Edmonds. Then we have Ethan Sparks, Cameron Saul, Henry McCartney, Charlie Huntingford, Finn and Werrity, Holly Harris and Keaton Payne. In terms of close battles, Henry McCartney, Charlie Huntingford. Oh, as we've got someone down somewhere. Yes, we have. That looks to be the number 76 of Huntingford. Well, I was just going to say McCartney, Huntingford and Werrity was a really close battle on track. And unfortunately, Huntingford has gone down, was in the middle of that fight. So left now battling for 6th place is McCartney and Werrity, who are still very close together, just coming up to the chicane at the moment. You can see McCartney on the 31 with the white crash helmet and Werrity just behind. Then the next closest battle behind that is Warwick Brady versus Greg Marshall for 10th place.
Yes, that's incredible racing right there from the likes of 2nd spot. That is Samuel Munson, Clayton Edmonds, Ethan Sparks as they come across the line like that. Are they catching our 1st position rider of Mason Foster? No, they're not. They've just dropped back a couple of tenths of a second. But Samuel Munson is making a move to hold 2nd. Clayton Edmonds through turn number 3 up towards turn number 4 at the moment. Clayton Edmonds looking for a gap, not finding it just yet. They're both lunging up towards turn number 4. This could end in tears.
Yeah, it could do, but this is why they're dropping back, Liam. They're just fighting just a little bit too hard, and Mason Foster's job is just becoming a little bit easier at the moment. There's no closer battles than this looking around. There certainly was a lap or two ago, but at the moment things all around the circuit seem to have settled down, but things are just getting even more intense in the battle for 2nd, as there goes a lunge from Clayton Edmonds, but I think backed out of it in the end. So it is still Munson in 2nd, Edmonds in 3rd and Sparks in 4th as they now blast down towards the hairpin with on the what is going to be the penultimate lap next time. Oh, in fact, it is the penultimate lap, so we already are getting towards the end of the race. Only one more lap to go at the end of this. One more lap to decide who is going to miss out on the top 3. Mason Foster, you'd have to say, has this one tied up, Liam, coming round the last corner. But the battle for 2nd, intense as it's ever been as we go on to the last lap.
Yes, Clayton Edmonds looking all over the back of Munson into turn number 2. Goes for a lunge, backs out of it just at the last second there. And we've still got Ethan Sparks, who could pick up the pieces of 2nd and 3rd if any of them make a mistake. Through the turn 3 chicane down towards turn number 4. We have Ethan Sparks. Ethan Sparks that makes a move up to 3rd spot right there. Incredible move. He's now in the podium position. Can he grab 2nd place there to turn number 5? He looks like there's a bit of a gap at the moment. Looks like there's a bit of a gap. He won't make a move. Mason Foster up towards the last corner. Rounds it with a 1.5 second lead. Mason Foster has this in the bag. Mason Foster on the yellow bike, number 88, picking up his 6th win of the season ahead of Samuel Munson, and Ethan Sparks grabs the final podium position. Clayton Edmonds put up an heroic ride but just missed out on the podium there, which is a shame for him, but great ride by the 146 rider. Cameron Sewell comes across the line in 5th.
Well, what a fantastic race that was. Mason Foster wrapped it out in the end by 1.4 seconds, so Mason Foster's lead at the top will extend. Samuel Munson second in the championship with the fastest lap, finishes in second. Ethan Sparks finishes in third place. Then we had Clayton Edmonds in fourth. Behind that, Cameron Sewell, as you said, was fifth. But let's go through the rest of the field. Henry McCartney was sixth. Finn and Werrity was seventh. They had a good battle for the majority of the race, actually. Holly Harris got involved in that as well. Only 6 tenths between McCartney, Werrity and Harris at the flag. Keaton Payne was ninth. Warwick Brady was 10th place. Warwick Brady applied a lot of pressure to Keaton Payne as we got to the last lap. Greg Marshall was in 11th place. Then it was Charlie Huntingford in 12th. And Aston Dean finished in 13th place. So no real surprise results in terms of the championship. The top four, all in the top four, just in a slightly different order.
Yes, apart from Mason Foster, of course, who, well, you say they're in a slightly different order. It was
well,
Mason
in fact, it
Munson,
was, wasn't it? Yeah,
Ethan Sparks,
because we had that change
Edmonds.
on the last lap.
So
yeah,
changing the last lap actually put them into the top four in the championship. So Mason Foster has extended his lead to 150 points ahead of Samuel Munson in second, Ethan Sparks in third, and of course Clayton Edmonds in fourth spot there. So incredible result for them. Great battle for second place, but Mason Foster, the second place battle can take a little bit of solace to the championship. That Mason Foster didn't run away too much with that race.
Well, fantastic stuff, as Liam just said. To anyone tuning in live on Motorsport Radio, thank you for your company here at Clay Pigeon for round number 3 of the FAB-Racing British Mini Bikes Championship. Will be live throughout the weekend. We have got the first set of races this afternoon. We're live all the way until our last race kicks off, 5:20. We'll be bringing then live coverage, of course, of Sidecars as well. So all the way through till about 5:30, we will be live bringing you all the action. And then, of course, we're live pretty much all day tomorrow because we've got races 2 and 3. Calling the action for you is myself, Chris McCarthy, and Liam Hodgins. Next up, Liam, we've got the PB140 and Moto Team Race 1.
Yeah, so this is looking to be a cracking race as we have 30, yes, get that, 30 riders starting this race. Now this is going to be ferocious action, and it's Jamie King starting in pole position. Now we just had Brandon Pearl, who's racing in Extreme 200, saying that he is absolutely bricking it at the moment. So that is Jamie King on bike 76 in pole position ahead of Matthew Bolsover, who returns for round number 3, missed round number 2 at Red Lodge, but he is back for Clay Pigeon ahead of Leo Corfield on bike number 14. Richard Holmes Williams, who picked up a few race wins at the previous round, is in 4th spot ahead of Harvey Claridge, the British Talent Cup rider, starting in 5th place there. In 6th place is bike 448, that's Cameron Corfield. So that's 2 riders to Corfields. They're making their debut for the 2019 season. Josh Watley on bike number 70 in 7th spot ahead of John Petit in 8th place. William Lathorpe on bike 226 in 9th place. Ben Bailey in 10th place there. We have Ryan Gaines on bike 711 in 11th place. Simon Clowes, who picked up a hat-trick of Moto Team race wins last time out at Red Lodge on bike 133. Will Howarth on the 7th row of the grid in 13th on bike number 96 ahead of Aston Ballard on bike number 21. Ian Jackson will be starting in 15th spot on bike number 7 on row number 8 ahead of Sean Whittaker on bike number 12. In 17th spot is Rob Petit ahead of Callum Wybrow, and on the 10th row of the grid we have Ben O'Keefe ahead of Henry Meduse. That's once again Henry Meduse in 20th place on bike number 55. Jason Pugh in 8th spot and on bike number 8 and 21st spot ahead of Tom White on bike 154. Daniel Gilbert on the 12th row of the grid and 23rd, that is 9th place ahead of Alistair Kinnaird on bike number 5 and 24th spot. Vincent Bailey on bike 369 on 25th spot on the grid. Roger Monks on bike 111, that is 26th spot. And we have Alex Caradon Brown in 27th ahead of Harrison O'Keefe in 28th, Gary O'Keefe in 29th, and Anthony Perrell on bike 146. That's Anthony Perrell in 30th spot. So we have 30 riders from the Pit Bike 140 and Moto Team class, and this is going to be fantastic race action.
I don't know if I saw Joshua Watley on the grid. There was certainly an empty slot, and I'm almost certain it was Joshua Watley. Perhaps he may have decided to go, you know what, let's go at the back. I mean, he was showing off earlier with some wheelies, so maybe he's going to start from the back. Who knows? But for whatever reason, no Joshua Watley from what we can see. That is a shame. Yeah. However, Jamie King is on pole position. Alongside is Matthew Bolsover. And we are about to get racing here for the first time for the PB140 and Moto Team classes. That is a pretty packed grid indeed. 30 riders getting ready to go racing for the first time around Clay Pigeon for round number 3. Green flag is up and it's down, and we're off away and racing. Jamie King leading us up towards turn number 2 for the first time, and Jamie King is going to lead, although that looks like Bolsover trying to challenge around the outside, but King just about holding on, putting his foot down there, and King now leads the way as they head down towards the hairpin. Bolsover in second place, but Bolsover being challenged around the outside, but I think which could be Holmes Williams perhaps, as they come up towards the left-hander. Despite the fact we had 30 riders out there, I do not see any yellow flags, which is a good effort to see. Oh, I spoke too soon. Someone off into the barriers over on the exit of turn 6, and it just looked like they lost the rear of the bike there and slid off into the tyres.
Richard Holmes Williams up the inside of Matthew Bolsover into turn number 2, ran a little deep. Matthew Bolsover nearly got a wheel up the inside of Tractor Boy into turn number 3, but wasn't looking too good there as he went up the inside. So we have Jamie King ahead of Richard Holmes Williams, and number 14 Leo Corfield has now just got ahead of Matthew Bolsover and made his way into third spot. A pretty clean opening lap from the top 10 there. Harvey Clary's just dropped back to 6th spot there, and we have a great battle on our hands as the start lap number 3. This is going to be Jamie King across the start finish line. We have Richard Holmes Williams looking up the inside, not making the move just yet. A bit of a moment for Jamie King coming in the seat through turn number 3 and onto the back straight to start the 3.5 lap mark.
Well, Jamie King leading the way, but Holmes Williams, as you said, almost going down the inside there at turn number 4. Three-way battle at the moment. Bolsover is dropping in to a battle for 4th place here, and there are 4 riders involved in that one. So 2 major battles going on within our top 7 at the moment. And a small look over the shoulder there from Jamie King. Sees Richard Holmes Williams just behind. And then behind that we have...
Richard Holmes Williams. That's off at turn number 2. Richard Holmes Williams down, just sliding out as he missed Jamie King as he looked up the inside. That was a horrible moment, but at least he's up and is okay, trying to get back into the race. That has left Leo Corfield as the next rider to chase down Jamie King. So Leo Corfield finds himself in second. Richard Holmes Williams, unfortunate for the rider that was looking odds on to challenge Jamie King for the race lead. Sorry to interrupt you there, Chris.
No.
We have Harvey Claridge, who moved up to 4th spot just before Richard Holmes Williams. That's happened. So that as we had Matthew Bolsover having a moment out of turn number 7. We have another move up the inside into turn number 5, and this is looking like a great race, Chris.
It is indeed. Now Harvey Claridge, 4th has become 3rd. We've got the 2 leaders down at turn number 4 at the moment, now just making their way up towards that double left-hander. And now coming up to the right-hander, where we unfortunately saw a rider go into the barriers earlier. So Jamie King it is leading the way. I tell you what, Harvey Claridge doing a great job here in 3rd place. Claridge certainly pulling away from the battle for 4th place, and I'd say he's probably catching the leaders, but we'll see if the timing screens reflect that. Jamie King is coming under pressure. Very shortly they will be approaching some back markers. Well, our top 2, King and Corfield, and King there just coming out of the hairpin. See him in the bright green crash helmet, or fluorescent crash helmet, in the white and yellow black leathers, now heading up towards the final corner. Just behind though, that is Caulfield. Pressure mounting all the time as they come through to start, well, to complete now, well, to go into the last 10 laps. I got there in the end with that sentence.
Harvey Claridge unfortunately got held up by the bag marker through the fast kink of turn number 1, but Jamie King, Jamie King gets set up by the bag marker, and we have Leo Caulfield make his way around the outside, and Harvey Claridge is now right on the back of the top 2 round the turn 4 hairpin down into turn number 5. Harvey Claridge could be making some moves here. It's very quick through the tight and twisty section of track as the bag markers are getting pushed out of the way by Jamie King, Leo Caulfield and Claridge.
Well, I'm going to say William Lathorpe is quickest on track in 4th place. This is really starting to close up now. Let's get gaps as they come across the line, as King there just having to go around the outside of a back marker. I'd say we've got 5, maybe 6, perhaps even more in what is now forming into a big lead group. Yes, it is. So we've got 2 out front, 4 in chase at the moment. King dealing with this pressure very well, despite that despite the fact he almost had to take a short trip off the track to go around a back marker. He still leads the way from Caulfield. Claridge still closing in. Someone running a little bit wide there through the left-hander on the infield. I think that was at Lathorpe that ran wide. It was Bailey, Bolsover and Cameron Caulfield trying to close in behind.
Yeah, Matthew Bolsover is looking up the inside of Ben Bailey at every single turn he can, but he just can't get a wheel in front. But we have Caulfield on bike number 14 all over the back of Jay King, and we had Brandon Pearl telling us he was bricking it a little bit earlier on. If you looked over the shoulder right now, he'd see 5 riders chasing him, and that would scare him off the circuit. So don't look over your shoulder there, Jamie King, as he runs turn number 5 and through turn number 6 towards the final corner, and it's going to be Harvey Claridge all over the back of Caulfield for 2nd place at the moment. Very fast through the twisty stuff, but not on straight line. But as it comes down towards turn number 1, Matthew Bolsover's dropped back. Ben Bailey looking all over the back of Lathorpe into turn number 2, not quite doing it yet, and we've got more back markers as they approach turn number 3 just before the back straight.
Well, he's easy to pick out, isn't he, Jamie King? He's got that fluorescent crash helmet and white leathers, and he's coming down towards the hairpin at the moment. So those back markers, once he comes past, should be able to see him, should be able to pick him out quite easily. But they're not going to know if he's the race leader, of course. Jamie King now he's caught another couple of back markers as he comes up towards the last corner. There's one ticked off, and there will be another as they come down the start-finish straight towards the start-finish line. We only have 5 laps remaining now as King leads Caulfield, Claridge, Lathorpe. Quickest on track is Ben Bailey in 5th place. Gap between the top 5 is 1.1 seconds, and we have someone stopped down at turn number 4 at the hairpin. I think that might be the number 99 that have stopped. Or we number 19 not potentially.
We don't just have a stopper down at turn 4, we have someone stopped over at turn number 2 as well, so he's over the other side of the barrier. So they've had 2 stoppages, but luckily they've not had an accident. But we've had Matthew Bolsover just push someone off the track, not quite off the track, but he just moved a bag marker out of the way. Now with 4 laps to go now, Jay King across the start finish line still holds the lead ahead of Caulfield, and
and he's made a mistake.
Up the inside, yes, Jay King made a mistake at turn. Was that on the yellow flag?
And we've got someone off. That is
Claridge.
Claridge is off down at turn 2. Claridge off at turn 2.
That's unfortunate for Claridge. We have Jay King looking up, back up the side of Caulfield into turn number 4 through turn 5. So Caulfield making a great opportunistic move as Jay King makes a mistake through turn number 2. Unfortunately, Harvey Claridge is back on the bike. Is he? Yes, he is. He's heading down towards turn number 4. So he is back in the race. So Caulfield on bike number 14 is leading the race. Justin coming past start finish line with 3 laps to go. Can Jay King do anything about the lead?
Yeah, I've got to say it's Caulfield leading. I do like his crash helmet design, actually. It's got the orange top to it and fluorescent front of that crash helmet as he now heads down towards the hairpin. So it's got a bit of a gap now, hasn't he, as he comes out of the hairpin and up towards the double left-hander, turning in. There he goes. And that is our race leader at the moment. That is Leo Caulfield. Well, of course, he was very opportunistic in the way he picked that lead up, but he's now going to be the rider that has to deal with these back markers first as they come through turn number 1. King almost alongside. Now they head in towards turn number 2, and Caulfield, well, he has to pick a side and hope that it sticks when he reaches these back markers. That's what King was having to do, and on the one occasion that he seemed to go the wrong side, Caulfield pounced. And Caulfield now having to defend down at turn 4 as they come up towards the left-handers. King right there. It seems like they've got a gap now, the top two, so it is pretty much a head-to-head fight between these two as we get towards the last lap.
Absolutely, a head-to-head, a battle for pride between Caulfield and Jay King as they approach the start finish line to start the final lap. Sorry, not the penultimate lap, this is the final lap. Can Jay King look up the inside into turn 2? Not quite yet. It looks like Caulfield has a little bit of a gap, about a bike length or 2 as they come through the turn 3 chicane. A bit of a moment there for Jay King, runs over the curb and onto the grass nearly. That has opened up the gap for Caulfield on bike number 14, coming down towards turn number 5 at the moment. Can Jay King do anything with a couple more corners to go? And if he's not careful, he'll have Lathorpe all over the back of him through turn number 6, down towards the final corner. It looks like Caulfield, who has not been racing in the 2019 Cool Fab Championship so far this season, comes across the line. It's going to be Caulfield. Bike number 14 takes the race win of the PB 140s. Jay King second, Lathorpe third. Amazing racing between the top 3 riders. I say Lathorpe third, just holding off Bett and Bailey for 4th spot there. Matthew Ball's over across the line in 5th spot. Ian Jackson, will we see him come across the line in 6th place? We could do any second now, but Leo Caulfield, Jamie King, William Lathorpe round out the podium positions there, Chris.
Yeah, what a fantastic race that was. Neither of them, though, took the fastest lap. That went to Ben Bailey in 4th place with a 40.033. Matthew Bolsover in 5th. Harvey Claridge was 6th place, despite that... It was Harvey Claridge, wasn't it? There's so much that happened in that race. I'm pretty sure it was Harvey Claridge who pretty much went down at one point. But Ian Jackson was 7th place. Cameron Caulfield was 8th. Richard Holmes-Williams was 9th. Simon Clowes was 10th place. Aston Ballard was 11th. Then it was Ryan Gaines in 12th. Henry Majus was 13th place. I'm pretty sure he started a little bit far down the field. So Majus making up quite a few positions there. Sean Whittaker 14th. And then we had... Callum Wybrow in 15th place. Rob Pettit was 16th. Jason Pugh was 17th place. Then it was Ben O'Keefe in 18th. Tom White in 19th. Daniel Gilbert was 20th. So that rounded out your top 20, and I'll hand it over to Liam to talk you through the rest of the field.
Yeah. Alex Carradine Brown in 21st spot ahead of Alistair Kinnaird. Roger Monks in 23rd place there. Harrison O'Keefe comes across the line in 24th, ahead of Anthony Perrell in 25th spot there. So great riding, and I'm pretty sure the PB140 riders, including Jamie King, will be hoping that Leo Caulfield doesn't turn up to any of the other rounds, because he comes along, qualifies in 4th spot, takes a race win. Thank you very much.
Well, that, I've got to say, is probably, in terms of just action events throughout the field, got to be one of the most exciting races we've had so far today, and there's going to be plenty more of them, so make sure you stay tuned here live on Motorsport Radio for round number 3 of the Cool Fab Racing British Mini Bikes Championship, live from Clay Pigeon. Chris McCarthy and Liam Hodgins bringing you the commentary live, and we're now going to go into the Junior LC40 Elite race number 1.
Yes, so we have the Junior LC40 Elite class, and it's been a Garness and Foster affair so far in 2019, with Johnny Garness picking up a hat-trick of wins at round number 1 at Clandau down in South Wales, but only managed to win 2 races. I know I say only 2 races, but he managed to win 2 races at Redlaws last time out, and it was Mason Foster that managed to pick up the other race win. Now these two were battling it out in the AC40 Pros last year, and they bring that rivalry into the LC40 Elites in 2019. Mason Foster and Johnny Garness had a great battle down towards the final turn in race number 1, and continued that to race 2 and race number 3 with lots of last lap passes, lunges up the inside, and we could see more of the same between Mason Foster and Johnny Garness. So Mason Foster on bike number 88 and Johnny Garness on bike number 57.
Well, Johnny Garness on pole position. Mason Foster starts on the outside of row number 1 as they set off for their green flag lap. Emmanuel Brinton and Ronnie Harris are going to be on row number 2. Clayton Edmonds and Cameron Sewell will be on row number 3. Then it will be Ethan Sparks and Josh Bannister on row number 4. Behind that we'll have Samuel Munson and Charlie Huntingford. Then it will be Holly Harris and Finan Werity. Keaton Payne and Greg Marshall will be row number 7. And Warwick Brady rounds out the field for junior LC40.
Yeah, so as the riders make their way back to the grid for the start of their first race of the weekend, the clouds have come over ever so slightly, so we might see some rain, but fingers crossed the rain does stay off. We had a little bit of spots of rain a little bit earlier on, but we have a dry race at the moment, so we could have another head-to-head battle between Johnny Garness and Mason Foster. Garness qualified 500th of a second. I say 500th of a second. That was half a second ahead of Mason Foster in qualifying, as all 15 riders are on the grid waiting for the green flag. It's up and the green flag is down. All 15 riders make a great start, but Mason Foster makes the best of all, but Johnny Garness will not let him take the lead into turn number 1. It's Johnny Garness ahead of Mason Foster and Ronnie Harris into third spot, but it could be Emmanuel Brinton on bike number 93. It is in third spot there, so we have Ronnie Harris back in fourth, but as I say that, we have Ronnie Harris is making his way up past Emmanuel Brinton into third spot there. So Johnny Garness ahead of Mason Foster into turn number 5, and of course we have Emmanuel Brinton all over the back of Ronnie Harris. Johnny Garness, Chris, is opening up a bit of a gap at the top of the field as they reach the final turn.
Yeah, Garness doing a really good job here at the moment, just extending a lead as he goes through turn number 1. I can tell you, Garness, who probably won't even be looking over his shoulder, will be very happy with that, as we almost saw a move for third place there. Didn't quite work out in the end.
Emmanuel Brinton who nearly looked up the inside of Ronnie Harris.
Yep, good spot, and it didn't quite pay off that time, but there is still a long race to go. We've still got 9 laps to go in this one, and Garness pulling away out front. But our main focus for the time being is this battle for third place, involving the likes of Brinton, as you said. They're just heading up towards the final corner at the moment for the second time. And Garness, well, he had a gap of 7/10 of a second. It could almost be double that as he comes across the line. And let's get the exact gap. What it is, got a bit carried away there. It's 1 second back to Mason Foster. Then it is Clayton Edmonds, Emmanuel Brinton, Josh Bannister, Ronnie Harris, Charlie Huntingford, Samuel Munson, Cameron Sewell and Finan Werity.
Yes, there was a great battle going on for, I'd say, second spot now, not third, because it looks like...
Oh, and third place is down. That's is that Clayton Edmonds
down? That's Emmanuel Brinton down.
Or was it?
Emmanuel Brinton has unfortunately lost it. Yeah, Emmanuel Brinton is down, trying to get his bike restarted, pulling at the pull cord as he started to back up. The Marshals run over. Turn number 4 is catching a lot of riders today, but it looks like he is back into the race. And as across the line to start the next lap, it's Johnny Garness ahead of Mason Foster. Has Johnny Garness set a new fastest lap? Yes, he has. A 41.9, extended the lead by half a second. It's went from 1 second up to 1.4 seconds. Edmonds, Bannister and Harris are chasing down Mason Foster really hard to try and get second spot before the end of this race.
Well, you're spot on. It was Emmanuel Brinton who went down, and that reduces the amount of riders now we have in this battle for what is third place, because Mason Foster is starting to extend a little bit of a gap over that. It's just under half a second at the moment. Then we have Edmonds, Bannister and Harris. And then there's not really any other riders in sight until we get back to Charlie Huntingford, as is that Bannister trying to go around the outside. It is, and that is successfully pulled off. So in towards turn number 2 that was, as they're now just coming through the chicane. And that was a good move, it looked like to me, for third place. And a little bit of a problem is that now coming down the back straight.
I'm not sure, but it looks like Clayton Edmonds has dropped behind number 66 of Ronnie Harris now.
Well, I think it was Bannister just had to pull up there, and Bannister now off the side of the circuit, and Bannister is out of the race. Well, having just gone into third place, Bannister now out of the race, and what a disappointment that is. The lead group just dropping in numbers all the time here. Bannister, the latest one to fall.
Yes, it's such a shame for Josh Bannister on bike number 2 there. He's looking unhappy, but fortunately, he didn't fall off. It was a bike issue, so
yeah, it was a
nothing wrong with the
mechanical,
rider there. Oh, we have a moment there for number 3. They're coming through the chicane up to turn number 4. That was Clayton Edmonds losing the front as he came through the chicane. Managed to hold it up, Mark Marquez style, but still in third spot. Well held to Clayton Edmonds.
Yeah, well, it was. This is the Edmonds and Harris battle. Our leader is over at the final corner, but the battle that we are focusing on is this third place battle between Edmonds and Harris, which is coming down the start-finish straight at the moment and down through turn number 1. Edmonds versus Harris.
Yes.
And towards turn number 2 we go. 4 laps to go. Just coming round the fast right-hander now into the chicane. This 3rd and 4th on track as they now head down the back straight towards the hairpin. We still have yellow flags out with Bannister just being taken to a place of safety. And now is this going to be a challenge for 3rd with the yellow flags in? And no changes at the moment. Harris still trying to find a way through. But tell you what, looking a bit further back, how about this battle for 5th place? 3 riders involved in it, Liam.
Yes,
and we've got a
Cameron
change
Sewell
for 6th place there. Is that Cameron Sewell?
That's Emmanuel Brenton making his way back through the field. Is he going to go up the side of turn 6? He has done. Into 5th spot. Emmanuel Brenton through turn number 6 towards the final turn. What a move. So up the inside of 5, up the inside of 6. Emmanuel Brenton goes from 7th up to 5th. Cameron Sewell, is he going to make a move round the outside across start finish line? He does, round the outside into turn 1. Turn number 2, Cameron Sewell into 6th spot, just behind Emmanuel Brenton. Amazing, epic racing all the way down the field here as we have Johnny Garness extending the lead ever so slightly ahead of Mason Foster, but Mason Foster is putting in some good laps to pull away from the battle for 3rd, and we have Clayton Edmonds just still holding that off ahead of Ronnie Harris.
Well, look at this 3-way battle just behind the Emmanuel Brenton battle as well. This is for the lower overs. This is down the lower order of the top 10, just heading through the penultimate corner now. Good 3-way scrap going on here. I think this is Munson, Werity and Harris that we are now looking at coming through the final corner and down towards the start-finish straight. Our race leader over at turn number 6 through the right-hander, now up towards the final corner. And the red leathers there and white crash helmet. You can see Johnny Garness just heading down the start-finish straight now, and he is about to start the last lap, Liam.
Yes, an epic ride from Johnny Garness in this junior LC40 Elite race. Mason Foster in 2nd spot, but we've still got a battle for 3rd. Ronnie Harris is now up to 3rd spot ahead of Clayton Edmonds. He must have done that further around the lap there. In the turn number 3, can Ronnie Harris still hold off Clayton Edmonds for 4th spot? Johnny Garness is coming into turn number 5 at the moment. Our race leader on his final lap of the race, Chris.
Yes, Garness then just 2 corners to go as he tipped into the right-hander at turn 6. Now up towards the final corner. Garness has ridden this race absolutely perfectly as he comes down the start-finish straight. Garness, another win for him. Fantastic riding for Garness. That is 5 wins out of 6, sorry. In fact, make that 6 out of 7. Fantastic stuff from Johnny Garness. Brilliant performance from him. He won by the end, by 3.2 seconds. And Johnny Garness will be very pleased with that. Unfortunately, of course, we did lose a couple of the lead group throughout the race due to incident and mechanicals. But Garness wins by 3.2 seconds ahead of Mason Foster in 2nd. Ronnie Harris finishes in 3rd.
Yes, Clayton Edmonds put in a great ride there, but just missed out in the podium position with 2 laps to go as Ronnie Harris passed him through the final couple of corners. Emmanuel Brenton fell off earlier in the race, but managed to recover up to 5th spot. Cameron Sewell, 6th place, losing 5th place with a couple of laps to go. Charlie Huntingford in 7th on bike 76. Samuel Munson, the Munson burner, in 8th spot. Finnan Werity ahead of Holly Harris in 10th place. Warwick Brady in 11th ahead of Keaton Payne, and Greg Marshall riding at the top 13, and Josh Bannister and Ethan Sparks running into problems throughout that race and didn't finish, but thankfully they were up and okay.
Well, we keep getting provided with fantastic racing. Garness just putting on a perfect display for us there over the 10 laps. Took the fastest lap for good measure as well. Garness, he's already been hard to beat this season, and he's proving that once again. Well, you are listening to live radio coverage here from Clay Pigeon on Motorsport Radio. Senior Mini Motos coming up next. My name's Chris McCarthy, Liam Hodgins alongside me. Thank you for tuning in. If you are with us, wherever you are listening from, we are being provided with fantastic action here at Clay Pigeon for round 3 of the FAB-Racing British Mini Bikes Championship. It's been great so far, hasn't it, Liam? What have been some of your highlights so far, would you say?
I mean, the Mini GP70 race, you cannot deny how amazing a race that was, all the way down to the final couple of laps. New race winners, new podium positions, and we've got a new championship leader in the hands of James Cook. The Pit Bike 140 class, once again, showing us how good a class that is. And Leo Caulfield, who I've not seen so far this season, taking his first race win of the year ahead of our championship leader, Jamie King. A lot of runners and riders slipping off, but thankfully we've had them back up and okay. 30 riders in that class. This is going to produce some great racing for the next 2 races tomorrow. And obviously we've got more racing action coming up today. We've got the Senior Mini Motos race number 1 coming out next, but after that we've got the Mini GP50s race number 1 ahead of the Extreme 200s and Sidecars race 1.
Senior Mini Motos just coming out onto the grid now, and they'll just be getting ready for their green flag lap. Matt Birkin is our championship leader at the moment. Matt Birkin with 2 wins and a second at round number 1, two third places and a third win, another win, at round number 2. Matt Birkin, with all of that, leads the championship by 6 points from Bernie Hook, with Will Howarth some 51 points back from the top 2. And Liam Hodgins will now talk us through the grid for the Senior Mini Motos.
Yes, championship leader Matt Birkin starting on pole position for round number 3 ahead of Will Howarth on bike number 96, ahead of Bernie Hook on bike 0 in 3rd spot, Simon Huntingford on bike number 47 in 4th place, Josh Birkin in 5th spot, ahead of Andy Whedon on bike number 7, Rob Petit on bike 8 in 7th spot, ahead of Nick Bennett on bike 711. Ross Michael in 9th spot on bike 79, ahead of Neil Skinner, who rounds out our 10 runners and riders ahead of the Senior Mini Moto race number 1.
Well, they're just about to line up, and have we had a bit of an overshoot there? Yes, we have. That was from Will Howarth.
Trying to get a head start ahead of Matt Birkin.
I was going to say, if any of our riders that are usually with us that are not quite here, please do give us a tweet or a message and let us know that you are enjoying the coverage. Right, we're going to get ready to go racing for race number 1 of Mini Motos, and we are off. Will Howarth taking the lead straight away in towards turn number 1. Matt Birkin dropping to 2nd place. Oh, who was that? Was that Simon Huntingford that's gone round the outside?
That was Bernie Hook, the outside of 2nd and 3rd there. What a great start by Bernie Hook.
Yeah, good spot to pick that one up. So Bernie Hook round the outside of not only 1 but 2 riders as they went through turn number 2. That looks like Matt Birkin retaking a place. So back up to 2nd. Now wants to get up to 3rd place, of course. Looking a little bit wobbly though, Matt Birkin, as he came through turn number 5 at the horseshoe. And now coming through the final corner. Looks like everyone's through safely, and Matt Birkin in chase of our race leader as we come across the line to complete lap number 1. Matt Birkin, who's been on the top step, as we mentioned already a few times, but if the flag were to fly now, that would belong to Bernie Hook. Will Howarth in 3rd, Simon Huntingford is 4th, Rob Petit is 5th place, Andy Whedon is 6th, and it's Josh Birkin, Nick Bennett, Ross Michael and Neil Skinner. Yes, absolutely. Matt Birkin's got a little bit of work to do as Bernie Hook looks like he's opening up a slight advantage at the top of the field. Will Howarth on bike number 96 just behind Matt Birkin. Can he close the gap before the end of the race? It's looking tough, but Matt Birkin onto the home straight, chasing down Bernie Hook. Can we see a new fastest lap from Bernie Hook as he extends the gap at the top of the field? So it's going to be Matt Birkin in 2nd spot, chasing down Bernie Hook, the Hookster, as some people call him. So that's going to be a great battle as the race continues. Well, it doesn't look like Will Howarth is done with Matt Birkin just yet, as he's closing him down around the turn 4 hairpin. No, Not quite yet, and we've still got 6.5 laps to go, so plenty of time for this battle to change hands. Likewise, plenty of time for Bernie Hook's lead to be reduced. It looks pretty healthy at this stage of the race, but we are still very early on. All that Matt Birkin can do for now is just try and keep applying the pressure. No huge battles going on other than this. We've got a nice little battle going on at the back of the field, actually, which we'll keep an eye on as the race goes on. But for now, let's stay with our leaders. Birkin just trying to close down Bernie Hook. The gap is just over 7.5 tenths. I mean, there was nothing to choose between the two leaders on the last lap. They both did a 43 flat. Will Harroth actually did the fastest lap of the race with a 42.9.
Yeah, Matt Birkin is closing the gap. He's closing the gap. This could be a fastest lap of the race. Bernie Hook is going to have to be looking over his shoulder. Matt Birkin is to come across the line, and it would be a fast lap as he looks into turn number 2. Sorry to cut you out there, Chris. And turn number 2 into turn number 3. Bernie Hook is still holding the lead of the race, but this gap is closing up between the top 3 now.
Yeah, it really is, isn't it? It was just that last lap, as I was saying, that they are very closely matched. All of a sudden, Matt Birkin was listening to me and goes out and puts in a 42.687, bringing that gap down to less than 2 tenths of a second. As the top 3 are getting closer, I think this battle for 4th is as well. Huntingford, Whedon and Josh Birkin. Look at the battle for 5th place. It's had a move up the inside from Josh Birkin, almost, but I think backs out of it in the end as they come down the start-finish straight. I'll let you keep an eye on the leaders, Liam, while I'll keep an eye on this battle as round the first corner we go, and Josh Birkin is going to try and pull off that move for 5th place, but can't quite do it.
Yeah, Matt Birkin in second spot. The other Birkin is looking up the inside of Bernie Hook, but a bit of a moment through the chicane.
Sorry, Liam. We've got Josh Birkin here down the inside of Andy Whedon, and he's done it. So Josh Birkin up to 5th place down at the hairpin.
So the Birkins are on the move at the moment. Can we have Matt Birkin make a move on Bernie Hook with only 3.5 laps to go before the end of this senior Mini Moto Race 1 from Coolfab here at Clay Pigeon? 3 laps to go as across start finish line. Matt Birkin shaping up a move into turn number 2. Faster, yes, up the inside. Matt Birkin runs a little wide. Bernie Hook back up the inside into turn number 3. Great racing between Hook and Birkin. And
Josh Birkin just behind this is trying to do the same thing as we come through the chicane. But is that a change of lead? Yes, it is. So that is Birkin going up the inside at the hairpin. So good riding there from Matt Birkin. He is back to where he started, back in the race lead. And behind Josh Birkin trying to do the same thing for 4th place. Not quite able to pull it off. Well, there's 2 battles. I'll look at one, you look at the other, I think.
Both have got Birkins in them. So we've got Matt Birkin just holding off Bernie Hook, but we've got Will Howarth all over the back of them as well. Can Bernie Hook get up the inside of Birkin into turn 2? No, he can't. So will we have a late lunge in the last couple of laps? 2.5 laps to go as we round turn number 3. Bernie Hook's got a great run onto the back straight. Can he look up the inside and do what Matt Birkin done to him last lap? No, he can't. So as they come through the turn 4 hairpin, Matt Birkin still leads the way.
Well, we are approaching the final lap of the race as Birkin's lead coming under threat once again there. That was Bernie Hook just trying to move down the inside. We are about to go on to the last lap of the race. So is Bernie Hook just trialling a move that he's going to do next time around? Well, maybe a change of lead could come in towards turn number 2 as we go on to the last lap. Through turn number 2, Birkin going slightly defensive. Hook can't quite get through, no space to do it there. But what about down at the hairpin? Down towards the hairpin we go, and it looks like Hook is going to look to the outside, trying to switch back. This is the left-hander we're coming up to now, where he was almost alongside last time, Liam.
Yes, absolutely. Matt Birkin doing a great defensive job into turn number 5. There's a back marker in the way. Back marker looks over his shoulder, out the way. Matt Birkin, Bernie Hook, Will Howarth into the final turn. Will there be a lunge up the inside? Not quite yet. Matt Birkin through the final turn, across the start finish line any moment now. Looks over his shoulder. Will Bernie Hook do it? No, he won't. Matt Birkin takes his race win ahead of Bernie Hook. Will Howarth in 3rd spot. What a race that was. I thought for a second Matt Birkin was about to lose the lead of the race as he looked over the shoulder coming across the start finish line. What a great race, Chris. What a finish.
Well, it looked like to me like Josh Birkin was also able to just sneak into 4th place behind as well. So the Birkins a big influence on that race, particularly towards the end. But as you said, fantastic finish there. It was not over until it was over, and that is exactly what we were talking about in qualifying. But Matt Birkin in the end just holding on from Bernie Hook. Bernie Hook, a long-time race leader, after going into the lead at the start with his fantastic move around the outside at turn 2. Lost out in the end by just 1.5 tenths. Will Howarth rounding out the top 3, and as we said, Josh Birkin going into 4th place at the end there. Likewise, Huntingford up to 5th, Andy Whedon dropping to 6th place, and then it was Rob Petit in 7th place. Nick Bennett was 8th, Ross Michael was 9th, and Neil Skinner was 10th place. 2.5 tenths between the top 3. Another fantastic race here at round 3 of the FAB-Racing British Mini Bikes Championship from Clay Pigeon.
Yes, the senior mini motos don't disappoint. Matt Birkin just held off Bernie Hook and Will Howarth, and of course that battle will rage on for the rest of the weekend. Just remember, races number 2 and 3 will come up tomorrow a little bit later on. So race number 2 for the senior mini motors will be at 12:25 AM, and race number 3 will be 3:45 PM. If we get more racing action like that, I cannot wait for the start of Sunday's racing. So we've got Matt Birkin extending the lead of his championship. It was starting off at 6. It'll now be up to 11 as Bernie Hook finished in 2nd spot, and Will Howarth, so the top 3 in the championship, finished in the top 3 in the race. So he'll be up to 152 points at the top of the standings there, Chris.
Yes, he will, and we will go from that to Mini GP50 next. And following that, it'll be Extreme 200s and Sidecars. Thanks for tuning in to Motorsport Radio. Hope you're enjoying the coverage so far. Here from Clay Pigeon, myself, Chris McCarthy, and Liam Hodgins calling the action for you. And it's been a pretty easy job to do so far, I think it's fair to say, because the racing has been intense, very, very close, entertaining, dramatic, all at the same time. Of course, we've got riders here on the road to MotoGP. We are the official partner series of the BSB as well. So if you do happen to go along and watch either of those series, and I'm sure you do, if you happen to watch them, you may see some of these names going into those paddocks, as we've already had riders going to the likes of British Talent Cup, as well as likes of Red Bull Rookies as well, the CV Moto3 World Junior Championships. So they're all out there, and there are more on the way.
Absolutely,
as there always is.
As there always is. Now we have the Mini GP50s making their way on the warm-up lap at the moment, and we have Josh Bannister will be starting in pole position on bike number 2 ahead of Lucas Brown. Harrison Crosby on bike number 69 in 3rd spot ahead of Kyle Payne in 4th. Ryan Hitchcock in 5th spot there ahead of Ronnie Harris on bike number 66. So hopefully not a bad omen there for Ronnie Harris there. Ollie Horner in 7th spot on bike 70. Taylor Stewart Campbell on bike number 97. Ben Jolliffe in 5th spot and 9th spot on bike 125, and Warwick Brady in 10th place, rounding out the runners and riders ahead of this fantastic, what's setting up to be a fantastic Mini GP50 race if qualifying was anything to go by.
Yep, well, 5 rows of bikes just getting ready now to line up on the grid. 10 riders about to fight for victory here at round number 3 of the FAB. Oh, and almost a little bit of an incident there coming down.
Yes, Harrison Crosby is not happy with something.
Yeah, well, got the 10 riders, as we said, getting all ready to go. And Harrison Crosby, your championship leader, starts from 3rd place. And Josh Bannister, 2nd in the championship, is on pole position. And
so we believe that someone's transponder has fallen off at turn number 2.
So there was no Harrison Crosby, I think. Is it? I wonder if it's Josh Bannister that's happened to, and Harrison Crosby just pulled up alongside to say, I saw your transponder fall off.
Yeah.
And well, the transponder now being reattached, and that is good news, and it's good good news that was spotted, because Josh Bannister, the pole sitter, that was his transponder. He's second in the championship, just 7 points behind Harrison Crosby, who starts directly behind him. And that championship battle is about to continue here as the green flag flies, and that is a great start from Lucas Brown. Lucas Brown going into the lead, and that looked like Carl Payne going into second place. I think we've got Josh Bannister in third place. I think Harrison Crosby looks to have dropped to fifth as they now come through the chicane and down towards the hairpin for the first time. So a fantastic start there from Lucas Brown. Had a drop to hold on to the lead once he had taken it, but brilliant run off the line as they now turn through the double left-hander and up towards turn number 6, down towards turn number 7 for the first time. A nice and tidy start once again, and riders now heading down the start-finish straight to complete lap number 1, Liam.
Yes, absolutely, as they come across the start-finish line. Harrison Crosby round the outside at turn number 1. Yes, he does it. Will he take first as well? No, it slots into second, just ahead of Kyle Payne. So great pass there by Harrison Crosby. Unfortunately for Josh Bannister, he had an awful start, dropping from first down to fourth, but he's on the back of the group at the moment. Ryan Hitchcock and Bike 43, as we have a changed position. No, we don't. Kyle Payne
close, wasn't it?
Just looked up the inside, and we had Josh Bannister doing the same thing, but they hold station just at the moment. So Lucas Brown still leads the way as they approach the end of lap number 2, ahead of Harrison Crosby, who's looking all over the back of our race leader at the moment. Josh Bannister, can he move up to third spot as he come across start finish line, looking up the inside in turn number 1. Has he done it? Not quite. Sets up Harrison Crosby into turn number 2, looks for the lead of the race. That is close battling at the front of the field, Chris.
It is indeed. It looked as if there was almost going to be a move, I think, for fourth place, but it looked like Carl Payne and Josh Bannister just battling away as we have a change for lead. Do we? We're side by side. Is that Crosby on the outside, and which will form the inside? No, in fact, it's Crosby on the outside, isn't it? So Lucas Brown, good defensive performance there as Lucas Brown now leading the way as we go up towards the final corner. The top 5 couldn't be any closer as we head down the start-finish straight one more time. 11 laps to go as Crosby looks down the inside into turn number 1, and that is move complete. So Harrison Crosby into the race lead as they come through the chicane once again.
Very opportunistic move, and it paid off very well for Harrison Crosby. And we've got a move by Josh Bannister up to third spot, do we? Yes, we do, up the inside of Kyle Payne, who in turn was looking up the inside of Lucas Brown into turn number 4. But Josh Bannister making his way through the field after a poor start by his standards up to third place. Now, will Harrison Crosby pull away at the head of the field? He's opening up a slight advantage as they head through turn number 2. We've got Lucas Brown on the curb. Josh Bannister looking all over the back of Brown. Will he do it into turn number 1? No, he has to back off. This is exciting racing as they head into turn 2. Top 5 riders at the top of their game.
Yeah, Lucas Brown sort of caught in the middle of a championship fight here at the same time, as well as a race for the top 3 positions. You mentioned the top 5. Behind that, we've got the likes of Harris, Horner, Stuart Campbell, Jolliffe and Brady as well. That is how the full field stands at the moment, but still 9.5 laps remaining. Very close battling for 4th place here, and that's just allowing the top 3 to break away a little bit. Carl Payne and Ryan Hitchcock just starting to battle a little bit more intensely as they come up towards the start-finish line, and no more changes as we can start another lap.
Yes, we had Lucas Brown have a bit of a shake on down towards turn number 2, but managed to hold it. Can we get Josh Bannister to move up the inside? Can it be Lucas Brown on Hitchcock, on Harrison Crosby, sorry? And no, they hold station as they head through turn number 4 into turn number 5. And Josh Bannister is the one that's looking most likely to make a move or attempt to move within the next couple of corners. Up the inside of turn number 6, not quite. That's tough if you try and do it there, but it's made him lose a little bit of time behind Brown. And we've got Kyle Payne and, of course, Ryan Hitchcock all over the back of Josh Bannister now to start the next couple of laps. 8 laps to go now. Josh Bannister already on the back. Once again, Brown has another twitch going into turn number 2. That bike looks very nervous as they head from left into right, starting the next lap.
Well, that tells you one thing. Brown is pushing it to the absolute limit as he trying to hang with race leader Crosby, who just has a small look over his shoulder there. Crosby, I think that's the first time I've seen him do that since he's gone into that race lead. Josh Bannister will want to get past Lucas Brown here. want to go after his championship rival, but Lucas Brown at the moment doing a fantastic job in second. However, there comes a move down the inside, and that is Bannister into second place. Surely, can he hold it through turn 2? Yes, he can. Josh Bannister, having just set the fastest lap as well, now goes into second place and is already after race leader Harrison Crosby.
And he's nearly done it. Into turn number 4. Look, Josh Bannister up the inside ever so slightly of Crosby. Into turn 5, he's done it. Yes. Got a great run through turn number 4 into turn 5. Josh Bannister leads the race. Harrison Crosby demoted to second spot. Can Crosby do anything about our new race leader? Bike number 2. Josh Bannister, they come across start finish line. Can we make a move into turn number 1? Maybe turn number 2. Brown looking around the outside. Not quite. Josh Bannister already opening up a bit of an advantage at the top of the field as they head towards the chicane with only 5.5 laps remaining.
I'm not sure what happened to Ryan Hitchcock, but he's just fallen away from this battle now. He's 1.5 seconds back from it, which is a real shame, because Hitchcock was really in that scrap for 4th place with Carl Payne, but now going to have a job to do in the next 5.5 laps to close that gap back down, unless he is suffering with some sort of issue. But out front, Josh Bannister, quickest lap so far in this race. However, race far from over. 5 to go. Crosby still right there, only 0.4 of a second behind. Lucas Brown is in 3rd place. Top 3 split by just under 0.8 of a second. Then we have Carl Payne. Don't count him out. He is just sitting off the back of the top 3 at the moment. So as we get into the end stages of this race, we're just seeing our lead group become a tiny bit smaller, aren't we? And is that
Josh Bannister had a moment coming through turn number 5 there. Harrison Crosby's climbing all over the back of him. That was a little bit of a rear end wobble from Harrison Crosby, our race leader, as they come on towards the home straight. Harrison Crosby, great run through the final turn alongside our race leader. Will he get into turn number 2? Josh Bannister's looking a little bit scruffy as he's trying to defend his lead. Running wide moments. Harrison Crosby's looking smooth. And will they get it run through the chicane up towards turn number 4 as they make their way onto the back straight? There's a gap opening up. Can Josh Bannister keep his head cool? We've got 4 laps remaining. Saying that, it's 3.5 laps remaining now. Josh Bannister wide as they come through turn number 4. He's feeling the pressure ever so slightly. Can Harrison Crosby pounce on him?
Well, we will find out very, very shortly. We'll find out in the next 3 laps as they come across the line next time, unless there are any moves made. Let's have a run through the field. In fact, we'll have to delay on that slightly because Harrison Crosby looks to the outside into turn 1. Likewise into turn 2, Bannister doing a good job to hold on. We're hitting some traffic now, and that is going to be a problem for Josh Bannister. Just we've got one of the riders towards the back. I think that's Warwick Brady that they're just going to have to negotiate their way past, but Brady just pulling to the outside as they go through the left-hander. And I've got to say, give it to Carl Payne. He's actually closing back in on the top 3 now, so he is putting in a good performance so far. But the full order is Bannister, Crosby, Brown,
Side by side for the lead, coming down Bannister, Crosby. Can Crosby go up the inside, around the outside in turn number 2? Not quite, not just yet, but it looks like he's putting Bannister under a lot of pressure with 2.5 laps to go.
I'll tell you what, it's quite deceptive when you see them side by side there, because sometimes it is just the leader taking a preference of line, and I think it is the nature of the straights. But there we go, we got Bannister still leading, but Crosby upping the ante now.
Another moment, we have Crosby nearly around the outside. Up the inside, possibly into the final turn. Sorry to cut over you there again, Chris.
Not quite yet. We've got one more lap to go, though, as they come around the final corner. Here we go. Bannister, Crosby and Brown, your top 3. That's the top 3 that we think will cross the line. But which order are they going to be in as they come up towards the chicane for the final time? Crosby looks to have got a good run. Down towards the hairpin we go for the final time, Liam.
Yes, absolutely. Josh Bannister's feeling the pressure ever so slightly. Can Harrison Crosby find a way past Josh Bannister? Off the track nearly into turn number 5. Crosby right this side. Oh, nearly touched. Bannister had to set up Crosby. Audacious but brilliant move round the outside through towards the final turn. Can Crosby hold on? Can Bannister make a move? He's down. Bannister's down out a second into the gravel trap. Crosby's going to come across the line in first place ahead of Brown. What a race by Crosby. What a race by Brown. And we've got Kyle Payne in third spot as Josh Bannister up Josh Bannister is off at the final turn. Checkered flag, Harrison Crosby, Lucas Brown and Kyle Payne round out the podium positions ahead of 4th spot Ryan Hitchcock. A shame there for Josh Bannister as he was crashed out of 2nd spot at the end of the race.
Oh, well, what an absolute shame. You got to feel for Josh Bannister there, because he put in an absolutely fantastic performance. He is up on his feet. I guess that's the most important thing, and walking away. That is a real shame for Josh Bannister, because he deserved to finish on in that top 3. But unfortunately, Josh Bannister is going to be classified down at the back of the field. 9th place in the end for Josh Bannister. Harrison Crosby took the win by 6/10 from Lucas Brown. Carl Payne was 3rd. What a fantastic race it was. Then it was Ryan Hitchcock in 4th place. Ronnie Harris was 5th. Ollie Horner was 6th place. Taylor Stewart Campbell 7th. Ben Jolliffe was in 8th. Josh Bannister was 9th after that crash going into the final corner on the last lap, and Warwick Brady was 10th. Well, it all got a little bit... it all kind of kicked off, didn't it, going into that final lap? Say kicked off, it's just that mistake from, could you say a mistake, or over defensive riding from Josh Bannister, which saw him run wide out of the hairpin, then going into the left-hander. There was just that, that was Harrison Crosby just coming across, taking the lead. Josh Bannister had to sit up, as you said, and into the last corner. I think he was just giving it everything, and it is so easy to make a mistake in Mini GP50, as demonstrated there from someone like Josh Bannister. But looks like everything has now been cleared up, and we'll see him definitely recovering in the next races. I'm sure he's still got 2 more races to go and take a win.
Yes, absolutely. Josh Bannister was putting in a great effort. Maybe just being, you can be overly defensive, and maybe that's what happened. And again, he was taking the same lines through the turns 4 and turn 5, which meant that Harrison Crosby could see where he can make a move on Josh Bannister. But Josh Bannister there has another chance in race 2 and race number 3 tomorrow, and race number 2 of the Mini GP50s will be coming up at 12:40 p.m. on Sunday the 19th of May, and race number 3 coming up at 4 p.m. So make sure not to miss that out, and Mini GP50s are giving us some fantastic race action. Chris, we've been having far too much race action today. I'm going to need to lie down after all of this.
Well, I'm going to say, just because sitting on Mini GP50, fortunately Josh Bannister will drop down, I think, to at least 3rd in the championship. Ryan Hitchcock will go back into 2nd place. Lucas Brown, that is a brilliant result for him, that 2nd place, because he's about 48 points behind championship leader, and that 2nd place he was 21 points behind Carl Payne, and that's going to bring him into play, I think, for overall championship fight. But next up, Liam, we've got the Extreme 200s.
Yes, absolutely, the Extreme 200s, and there's only a few of them out on track for this race, and we're not quite sure how many just yet, but we will wait until we've got them on the grid. So as the riders line up on the grid for the start of their first race, you're listening to live Cool Fab Racing here, round number 3 from Clay Pigeon, and myself, Liam Hodgins, and alongside me Chris McCarthy, and we'll be bringing you live coverage throughout the rest of the weekend. So the Extreme 200s are up next, and you can catch us on Motorsport Radio on Facebook and on Twitter at Motorsport Radio, and you can catch us on Cool Fab Racing Facebook and at Cool Fab Racing on Twitter. So this is the penultimate race of the day as the riders set off on their warm-up laps. So in the first position, Chris, we have
Joshua Watley. Qualified on pole position, just 2 tenths ahead. Was that Watley down?
Was that, yeah, Watley?
Yeah, well, it looks like Joshua Watley's back up already, but that is not the start of the race you want to have. I think he was just giving the all clear to his team at the side of the track there, but Watley's going to start from pole position. There you can see, looks like he's okay though. We're just having a look at him now, just trying to get some heat into the tyres. Alongside him will be Richard Holmes Williams, and it will be Jamie King and William Howarth. Then we'll have Cam Harris on row number 3 with Harvey Claridge. row number 4 will be Brandon Perrell and William Lathorpe, and then rounding out the field will be Taylor Lawrence and Ian Jackson. Well, Joshua Watley, unfortunately, that's not exactly the start of the race he would have wanted, but he is back in pole position now, and he'll be hoping to go on and take the win as we have the race start coming up.
Flag, and it's down and away they go. Josh Watley wheelies off the line, and a great launch from him into turn number 1 ahead of Richard Holmes-Williams. Jamie King slots into 4th spot there, just behind Will Howarth. So Josh Watley not letting that incident on the warm-up lap diffuse the start of his race down towards turn number 4, snaking under braking there. That he managed to get that stopped. How did he do that? Josh Watley putting the brakes on and making the tyres squeal. That bike is all over the place as he exits turn number 5 there. Hopefully he's going to finish off this race, but the way he's riding he might not.
Joshua Watley taking every risk possible here, but he's used up one of his lives already, but he's looking like he wants to use up a few more as he comes in towards turn number 2. And is he going to lose the race lead? He is. Holmes-Williams sneaks down the inside at turn 2, so Watley pushing just a little bit too hard through turn number 2 there, but as quickly as he loses the lead, he's going to take it back again, because back down the inside, Watley now into first place once again. So Holmes-Williams only had that lead for the matter of a couple of corners in a straight, but Watley back into the lead. It's going to pretty much be a 2-horse race by the looks of it, because everyone else is in the battle for third, pretty much being led by Howarth as they come round turn number 1. Let's run through the 10 runners and how they currently stand. We've got Watley leading the way from Holmes-Williams, Howarth. That said, it looks like our we'll have to run through the order in just a second, because there's been a bit of a hiccup to our timing screen quickly, but we'll just go with what we can see, and that is that we have Joshua Watley, our pole sitter, leading the way.
Yes, absolutely. Josh Watley's just moved aside and let Holmes-Williams up the inside, so Tractor Bot is now in the lead of the race as they start lap number 4. Josh Watley still in second. Jamie King all the way back in 4th spot, looking every which way to try and get up the inside of Will Howarth for 3rd spot. So he's leading a train of a lot of riders. So Holmes-Williams ahead of Watley, Will Howarth in 3rd spot, Jamie King just behind in 4th, Cam Harris in 5th. They're just behind our race leader Richard Holmes-Williams. Turn number 4 again, Richard Holmes-Williams just holds off Josh Watley, who nearly put up the inside. Brandon Perrell makes a move for 8th spot up the inside, slots in just behind of Harvey Claridge in 7th spot. So Brandon Perrell making moves. So can he get a podium position just like he done in race number 3 at round 2 at Red Lodge as the race leaders start their next lap? It is still Richard Holmes-Williams. Will Josh Watley go up the inside into turn 2? Not quite yet, but he's shaping up a move for a little bit later on in the race there.
Yeah, Holmes-Williams doing a great job in the lead at the moment as he comes down towards the hairpin. Watley in 2nd place. Then we've got Howarth, King, Harris, Claridge, Perrell, Lawrence, Jackson and Lathorpe. That is how the 10 riders currently sit with 10 laps to go. And it looks as if Holmes-Williams has just pulled a little bit of a gap on this lap at the moment from Joshua Watley, so I think we'll probably be able to go back and look at some of the battles a little bit further down the field, because look at this battle for third coming down the start-finish straight now, coming down towards the start-finish line. That is Will Howarth leading Jamie King, and you can pretty much see that we've got everyone in this battle, all the way back down to Ian Jackson. Not too sure what's happened to William Lathorpe, but we're not getting him registered at the moment. But we can see William Howarth in that 3rd place, just managing to hold off Jamie King. Jamie King, though, is he trying to sneak down the inside into turn 5? That was an attempted move that almost went wrong, Liam.
Yes, absolutely. Jamie King, he's lost. What's happened to his bike? Has Jamie King in 4th spot had a bit of an issue? Maybe just lost a little bit of heat in his tyres, maybe a tyre issue. He's looking over his shoulder at Harvey Claridge, who's determined to catch him. Cam Harris up the inside. Has he done it into turn 1? Yes, he has done. What a move by Cam Harris on Harvey Claridge. Harvey Claridge holds it round the outside. Yes, so
we've had a change for lead, sorry.
We have done, yes, well spotted there, Chris.
Josh Watley's gone into the lead, so change of lead as we're about to go into the final 7 laps.
Yeah, so we've got Josh Watley in the lead of the race coming through the final turn. Can Holmes Williams find another way up the inside, or round the outside for that matter, on Josh Watley? The battle for fourth now rages on. Jamie King still leading it just ahead of Harvey Clouds as they enter the final turn. We've got Will Howarth just extending the lead he has in third position, so the battle for fourth is heating up. Brandon Pearl making some moves up the inside. Can he get past Cam Harris? Looking up the inside to turn two, not quite yet, but that battle is heating up ever so slightly for sixth spot. And of course we've got Josh Watley making his way through the final turn with 6 laps to go as they cross the start finish line now, looking over his shoulder, looking to see where Holmes Williams is. Will he let him pass again? Is he just looking there because he's feeling a little bit of pressure from Holmes Williams? We're not quite sure just yet.
Well, there's battles going on. There may only be 10 riders out there, but all of them are involved in a battle of some sort. I'd say bar from third place Will Howarth, who's done a great job to pull away from the likes of Jamie King and Harvey Claridge. Battle for the lead is still as close as it has ever been, and they are going up towards the last corner at the moment. Watley leading Holmes Williams. They've exchanged places a few times now, and a look over the shoulder there from Watley. Holmes Williams just heading through turn number 1, and Holmes Williams not able to make a move at the moment. Watley just sitting in the middle of the track as he brakes for turn number 2. Now through the chicane we go, and down towards the hairpin. We'll pick up whatever you've spotted in just a second, Liam, but Watley does hold on through the hairpin. Does he? No, he's wide on the brakes, and Holmes Williams takes the lead. Watley now to the outside of turn number 5. Can he get the switchback going up towards 6? He can't.
Yes, what a ride there by... Oh, we've got Watley looking up the inside at the final turn, not quite doing it just yet. Holmes Williams holding the lead with 4 laps remaining as the cross-start finish line now. Will Josh Watley go through up the inside? Yes, into turn 2. Has he done it? Not quite. Nearly hits the back of Holmes Williams. Holmes Williams pushed wide. Watley back up to first place through the chicane, but will Holmes Williams do it once again? Around the outside, up the inside, into turn number 4. Not quite. Josh Watley is having a great ride. So is Holmes Williams for that matter. They're both just having a little bit of fun out there. As I was about to say a little bit earlier on, we have Brandon Pearl up to 6th spot ahead of Cam Harris, with Jay King and Harvey Claridge chasing down Will Howarth for 3rd spot there.
Well, fantastic racing being brought to you live here on Motorsport Radio from Clay Pigeon, round 3 of the FAB-Racing British Mini Bike Championship, and Josh Watley leading the way as they go through turn number 2 with just 3 laps remaining now. Holmes Williams is not done with Watley yet, and I'm going to take a chance and look away from the lead battle for just a second and hope it doesn't change. Oh, we've got someone down at turn 6. Someone down at turn 6.
That's Cam Harris.
Good spot. We think it might be Cam Harris, and that's going to see the yellow flags out as the leaders now come through turn 6. But we'll look back at this. We've got the 3rd, 4th and 5th spread apart. Likewise, the battle behind. So let's stay with our leaders, Liam, with 2 laps to go.
2 laps remaining. This is heating up. Holmes Williams is not letting go of this race win. He's all over the back of Watley. Will Watley make a mistake? Will Holmes Williams pushes his way past it along the back straight. A lap and a half to go into turn number 4. Watley's late on the brakes, not quite wide enough to let Holmes Williams through. Down to turn at number 5 at the moment. Holmes Williams all over the back of Josh Watley through turn number 5 into 6, and they're approaching the start of the final lap of the race. I can't see where Holmes Williams can make a move on Watley unless Watley makes a mistake, but then again he's made a couple so far already this race. Starting the final lap, it's going to be Josh Watley across the line ahead of Holmes Williams into turn number 2. Watley is still holding the lead of the race. So Chris, where can we see the pass for the win?
Well, it could be at any corner coming up now as they head down towards the hairpin for the final time. Richard Holmes Williams applying the pressure to Josh Watley here. Holmes Williams holds the fastest lap in the race at the moment. It's going to be a last corner showdown. Final lap, final corner coming up now. Who is going to emerge in the lead of the race? Watley just needs to try and hold on, and he's not made any mistakes, but Holmes Williams trying to get in the tow, but Watley just about taking victory in the Extreme 200 class. Fantastic race, fantastic battle between Watley and Holmes Williams. Two fantastic riders putting on a great show for us here at Clay Pigeon, and great respect shown for them post checkered flag as well. And Watley, the celebratory wheelie coming from him as he goes down towards turn number 4. Holmes Williams is second. Who is going to take third? We have to wait a long time to see who it is, and it's going to be Will Howarth, 25 seconds back from the top two in the end, and that just shows you how quick those top two were, Liam.
Yes, Holmes Williams has to contest with a new rider to challenge at the front of the race every single weekend. Last time out it was Brad Ray, before that was Charlie Nesbitt, now it's Josh Watley, so he's not having it easy even if he's leading the championship at the moment. So Josh Watley was first, just ahead of Richard Holmes Williams by a tenth of a second. Will Howarth in third spot, 25 seconds behind the top two. Jamie King couldn't quite make it past Will Howarth for third spot, so he finishes in fourth, ahead of Harvey Claridge, our British Talent Cup rider. Brandon Perrell made his way up through the field to finish in sixth place, ahead of seventh place Taylor Lawrence, and Ian Jackson rounds out our runners and riders and our finishers. Cam Harris and William Lathorpe didn't quite make the end of the race, unfortunately. So that has been the Extreme 200 race 1 here at Clay Pigeon, round number 3 of Cool Fab Racing. Just remember, you are listening to myself, Liam Hodgins, and Chris McCarthy live in the commentary box all weekend. We've still got races 2 and 3 from all classes coming up on Sunday the 19th of May. You can listen on Motorsport Radio and of course on Cool Fab Racing. You can find us on Facebook at Cool Fab Racing and Motorsport Radio. You can find us on Twitter at MSport Radio and at Cool Fab Racing. You can also find us also on website coolfabracing.com and motorsport.radio. Stick around, we've got more action from the Mini Sidecars Championship race number 1 that is coming up next.
This is Cool Fab Racing on the road to MotoGP.
We are just about ready to get going for the final race of the day. It is Sidecars race number 1. You are listening live to Motorsport Radio here from Clay Pigeon. This is round number 3 of the Cool Fab Racing British Mini Bikes Championship. Myself, Chris McCarthy and Liam Hodgins have been on the mic for you today, and we will of course be here tomorrow as well. We've been enjoying some fantastic racing, as I'm sure you have too as well. We are bringing live coverage of every single race this weekend. We've got 2 sets of races coming up tomorrow, 3 races per class. That is how it works in Cool Fab Racing. And next up to finish us off will be Sidecars. Thanks for tuning in, thanks for sticking with us. Hope you've enjoyed the racing so far. But as we said, Sidecars up next. The grid is going to be Mick Williams on pole position. Jack Qualters will be second place. Then it'll be Mick Lee and Mark Parker. Paul Qualters Jr. will be on row number 3 with John Hosker. And then new face Greg Pym, for new face for this season. He will be at the back on row number 4. And we are just about getting ready to go on the grid. So that means I'll now pass over to Liam Hodgins to talk us through the race start.
Thank you very much, Chris. Yes, the Mini F1 Sidecar race number 1 from round number 3 here at Clay Pigeon is about to get underway. We've got Mick Williams and Jack Qualters on the front row of the grid, our championship contenders. The green flag is away, and we've got them down now, and it's a great start by Mick Williams, but Jack Qualters, can he hold it around the outside into turn number 1. Jack Walters in the lead of the race. Mick Williams looking up the inside into turn number 3. Not quite doing it yet, so we've got Jack Walters in the lead of the race. Mick Williams in second spot, and Mick Lee on bike number 44 in third spot there. So we've got the 7 riders making their way up to turn number 4 and around number 4. So we've got Jack Walters in first spot at the moment there. So it's going to be a great battle. Could we see the championship contenders from round number 1 and round number 2, Mick Williams and Jack Walters, battling it out for the rest of this race. So Mick Lee all over the back of second position as they round the final turn and across the start finish line to start lap number 2. So as they round the second lap here into turn number 2, there's a gap opening up at the start of the field, and apologies to the listener there, I got it all wrong. So it was Mick Williams in first, not Jack Walters. So Jack Walters in second spot ahead of Mick Lee. Yeah. Oh, Mick Lee's, that's Jack Walters. That's Jack Walters off the circuit at turn number 3. Jack Walters, was it another problem like they had at the end of qualifying earlier on in the day?
Well, no, I think that was a flicked chain they had there, well, we will find out, I'm sure. But we've got a close battle going on for third place, I'll tell you that. That looks like that'll be, I think it's that Paul Quarters Jr. and Mark Parker battling away as they come out of the final corner and down the start-finish straight now. So we may have Mick Williams charging away in the lead, but we have any one of 3 riders who could be in that second place. Mick Lee, Paul Quarters Jr. and Mark Parker coming up to the chicane. Owen is at a challenge for third place. I think it almost was, as they now enter the back straight and down towards the hairpin. That's Mark Parker, who was trying to go up to third place. Fifth place is John Hosker, then it is Jack Walters and Greg Pimlian.
Yes, absolutely. Mick Lee looking over his shoulder as he came out of the turn 3 corner along the back straight. And to turn at number 6 they go now. Mick Lee, it looks like he had a bit of a scare with when he looked over his shoulder there and saw 2 angry riders chasing him down. So he's pulled a bit of a gap for second spot now. And we will see a great battle for third spot. Paul Quarters Jr. just ahead of Mark Parker for third spot. The final podium positions at the moment. We've got Mick Williams setting a new fast lap of the race of 45.1 ahead of Mick Lee at bike number 44. Paul Quarters Jr. can he put the pressure on Mick Lee? Not quite, as he's got Mark Parker all over the back of him into turn number 4. Not quite making a move just yet, but this could happen at any point with the next 4.5 laps remaining. So we've got further back 1 to 7. Jack Walters side by side as they head through fourth corner there. That's Jack Walters into turn number 5. Jack Walters in fifth spot. Is he slowing down once again? He is. That is Jack Walters setting up. There's definitely a terminal problem with that sidecar. Jack Walters looks like he's out of the race. Can it be the same issue as what they had in qualifying 2 earlier on this afternoon, Chris?
Yeah, that was John Hosker going past, but still a good battle going on for third place here between Paul Quarters Jr. and Mark Parker. Just ahead of them, though, is Mick Lee, and if Mick Lee makes one mistake, then we will have third and fourth catching up. But down at the hairpin now, that is our battle for third place. Paul Quarters Jr. and Mark Parker in the blue sidecar there. We can see Paul Quarters Jr. and in the red we have Mark Parker as they now come around the left-hander towards the right. It is very interesting when we have the sidecars so close together racing, isn't it?
We just had one of the sidecars pull into the pits there. Not quite sure who it was.
I think that was Greg Pym.
I think you're right. I think it was Greg Pym. But side by side for third position there, that is Paul Quarters Jr. and Mark Parker as they start the last couple of laps of the race. Third and fourth position, heating right up. Out the side, touching as they head through turn number 2 into turn number 3. Will it touch once again? Great riding from both riders. Pushes Paul Quarters out the way a little bit. Mark Parker getting his elbows out there as he heads up into third spot. Can he catch Mick Lee with 2.5 laps remaining?
Well,
he's a little bit wide.
Yeah, he's gone a little bit too deep on the brakes, and now that's going to allow...
I think he's got an issue. He's got an issue.
Oh, no.
That's such a shame for Mark Parker. Slowing down. Not too sure what that issue could be. Could it be from the contact between himself and Paul Quarters?
I'm not too sure, but well, we'll see next lap around. if they're able, they look like they're getting back up to speed to me now, so I'm not too sure if that was a minor glitch, but whatever happened, it looks like we're getting close together once again through turn number 1. This is our battle for third place, leader all the way down at the hairpin, believe it or not. So that's how far Mick Williams is in the lead, absolutely cruising at the moment, but the battle for third place at the chicane is our main focus, as Paul Courtis Jr. very close with Mark Parker once again. They've just gone through the corner where they almost had contact last time around, and round the outside now. Mark Parker trying to move around there and trying to move up the inside into turn number 5. Oh, well.
Tyre smoke.
Yeah.
Tyre smoke as he just missed the bag of Paul Courtis Jr. there. It's the final lap of the race. Mick Williams has a commanding lead as they come through the turn 3 chicane on the final lap. Mick Lee is in second spot, a few seconds further back. That's 10 seconds further back. In third spot, we've got Paul Courtis Jr. just holding off Mark Parker at the moment, down towards turn number 2. Can we have another incident down here like we had a couple of laps ago? Paul Courtis Jr. holding off Mark Parker for third spot at the moment, as we pick back up with Mick Williams, who rounds the penultimate corner down into turn number 7 for the final time. It's going to be Mick Williams coming through the final turn, just 10 seconds ahead of Mick Lee. Mick Williams across the line to take his 6th win of the season in the Mini F1 Sidecars Championship. Incredible race. Mick Lee will come home in second, and we've got Mark Parker and Paul Courtis Jr. touching as they come through turn number 5. Mick Lee comes across the line in second, looking back to third spot. Into turn number 7, will it be Paul Courtis Jr.? Will it be Mark Parker, across the start finish line? Who's going to run out the corner? Is it Mark Parker? Across the start finish line, Paul Courtis Jr. just holds off, shoves him towards the end of the track there. Paul Courtis Jr. in third spot, Mark Parker in fourth. What a race there for third spot, and incredible. I thought they were both off into the gravel there for a second.
I've got to say, Lynn, while you were watching the leader, there was a lot of tyre smoke going on down at the hairpin there. There was almost a lot of contact between Mark Parker and Paul Courtis Jr. in the end, but I have to stress the almost. Overall, that was a very, very clean race, and a lot of people were definitely enjoying that one, but Parker gave it everything in 4th place, but just couldn't quite get through. Trying to move around the outside at turn number 5 as well after that attempted move at turn 4 didn't quite work out. But Paul Courtis Jr., they did not fade under the pressure. They did a very good job in holding off an aggressive Mark Parker at times, and overall fantastic racing there between Courtis Jr. and Parker. But the full order then was Mick Williams, took the win by over 10 seconds from Mick Lee in the end. Then it was Paul Courtis Jr. who rounded out the top 3. Mark Parker was 4th, John Hosker was 5th, Jack Walters was 6th. Unfortunately, one of the 2 sidecars to exit the race, along with Greg Pym. What a fantastic day it's been.
Yes.
That unfortunately brings us to the end of racing. Well, Liam, I'm going to put you on the spot slightly. What have been your overall thoughts of the day? Any particular classes that stood out for you?
It's a lot of great racing throughout the day.
He hasn't done his hair, unfortunately. But,
yeah, growing the hair a little bit long. Unfortunately for likes of my girlfriend. But
just had to get that in, did you?
She doesn't like the long hair. So we've got great racing coming up tomorrow with the likes of the Mini GP70s, the LC40 Elite class, AC40 Rookies, the Mini GP50s, which gave us an extremely good last lap. The Pit Big 140s, there's 13 riders on the grid this weekend, and of course they will be producing a lot of great action. We had Jamie King, we had Richard Holmes-Williams, we had Leo Cornfield, who was a new rider this weekend, taking his first win of the season and looking like he can do more. In the LC40 Elite, Johnny Garnes taking his 6th win of the season in commanding fashion. Many GP50s, we had lots of great racing. Josh Bannister unfortunately crashing out at the end of the race. Harrison Crosby picking up another win. So it's looking like we've got great racing set up for the rest of the weekend.
Well, I think that was a fantastic summary. I couldn't really have put it better myself, to be honest. And thanks to everyone who has been tuned in throughout the day. Please come back again tomorrow and tune in with us for races 2 and 3, because the racing's been good today. We're going to have double the amount of it tomorrow, which is going to be fantastic to see. So we're going to be live for race number 2 just before 11 a.m. AC40 Rookies will kick us off for race 2, and the third set of races will start at 20 minutes past 2. So it's a goodbye from us for now. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for watching. Hope you've enjoyed what we've been able to bring you today, the coverage and the racing, more importantly. The only people we can thank for that, though, is these guys in the paddock, because they've put on a really good show for us. Do tune in, though, tomorrow, as we said, 11 a.m, and we will get racing underway here at Clay Pigeon for round 3 of the Cool FAB-Racing British Mini Bikes Championship.
Cool FAB-Racing, the official BSB partner series.